You are listening to the Technical Foul Podcast for Sunday, May 6, 2018. I'm your host, Manny Fresh, and I am joined by my co-host who finally decided to come to work today. Jut, what up?
Listen, you just call me Randy Moss. I do what I want. I play when I want. I podcast when I want. Yeah, exactly.
Okay, nigga. Okay. What up, though?
You know, look. When you are at my skill level, you can dictate what you want to do. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. All right, nigga. Anyway, what up, though? What up, though?
Bro, just chilling, man. Like we was talking about before, just taking care of my sick dog, man.
Yeah, man. Shout out to Sully, man. Sully is sick.
Yeah, he's having a rough day, man. But you know, he'll be alright. He's strong. He's a strong pup. He'll be straight.
I feel you. Listen, when I tell you to be somewhere at a certain time, bro, like I expect you to be there. You know what I'm saying? I understand you got a sick dog and everything like that, but when I say 11 o'clock, I say 11 o'clock. You know what I mean? I don't mean 11:05. I don't mean 11:10. Like, I don't mean color people time. I mean 11 the fuck o'clock. See, that's what's wrong with niggas, man. That's what's wrong with black people in general. You know what I'm saying? We want to do things at our own pace, at our own time.
Look, I got priorities, dog.
Yeah. Whatever, nigga.
Yeah. You know, Sully's sick, man. You know, I had to go to the vet this morning, you know.
I feel you, man. I feel you. Shout out to Sully, though, man. Shout out to Sully, man. Sully's my dog, literally. Sully's my dog.
Yeah, Sully's my dog. That's the homie.
That's the homie. Even though he tried to hump my leg when I was there, you know.
Yeah, he did. And he threw up on you.
And he threw up on me, yeah. So I don't know what kind of secret dark relationship we had, but
I don't know. He was cool. He likes you. You know?
And this was this was a Saturday night. So I'm like, Sully, I hope you don't treat your other dates like this. Like shit.
Like, poor Sully, man. He don't even got no dates. He's scared of other dogs. So like, my man can't even do nothing, man.
Oh man. Well, hopefully after you have this near death experience, Sully, you appreciate life a little bit more. Get out there, man. I had a near death experience this week myself. I thought I was having a heart attack. I thought I was dying, and it was fucking acid reflux.
Text me. I was in class. I was like, "Yo, you good?" Like.
Well, cause nigga, I didn't know what the fuck was going on. Like, I was like, yo, I was at the emergency. I was like, yo, cause I'm like, man, I'm having fucking trouble. Like, it wasn't even like I was having trouble breathing, but I was like shortness of breath and shit. My chest felt all weird and shit. I was like, what the fuck is this? And I'm telling my wife, and my wife's like, oh, well, just go to the, you know, she being real, you know, direct about it. Well, we'll go to the doctor. I'm like, oh, thanks, babe. Thanks for the help. Like, so I go. I leave work. So I tell my boss, and my boss is like, oh my God, well, just go. Like, why are you wasting your time here? Go. So I go, and, they do the EKGs. They put you on a machine and everything. So like, when I first walked into the motherfucker, right, I was like, yo, I'm trying to get the urgent care or whatever. And she's like, oh, I'm just, like, it's a 3-hour wait. I'm like, well, I'm having difficulty breathing. She's like, okay, we're going to have somebody come see you in a minute. I was like, okay, that's all I got to do to get pushed in front of the line, nigga. Just fuck that. Yeah, no, I get it. You know what I'm saying? I get it. But yeah, so, I got, they came out, they did their little checks or whatever, ran their little tests. They put me on the little machines and everything, my whole body machined up and all that, EKGs, whatnot. They were like, oh, your heart's great. So it's not that. I was like, okay, well, that's a relief. So, they did some other tests. They gave me some shit that still got me shitting to this day. And yeah, like clearing out my fucking system and shit. So then after all that, they were like, oh no, it's gastric. They give you the medical term for it. And it was like, oh, it's just an extreme case of acid reflux. I was like, really?
Yeah.
But I mean, hey man, judge me all you want. I'd rather it be acid reflux than some fucking artery or coronary shit. Like, I don't know. Like, yeah, I'm glad. So I've been telling everybody. So I was telling everybody I had a near death experience this week. So that's good.
Shit, that's initial scare will make you feel like you.
Hell yeah, nigga.
That shit happened to me one time. That shit happened to me one time in the middle of the night.
Mm-hmm. And that's the same thing. And that was the same thing with me. Like, I laid down the night before, and I just felt so fucking weird because I'm like, yo, my chest is hurting. Like, yo, am I dying right now? Like, what's going on here? But I didn't want to wake my wife up because, she had to get up early. It was like late that night. And I was like, all right, I didn't feel like I was dying, but I was like, man, my fucking chest hurts. So I was like, all right, fuck it. I'm gonna just, it'll be better in the morning. So I got up, got dressed. I didn't feel it then. And then as soon as I got to work, I drove to work and I got to work or whatever, I started feeling it. I was like, man, this is terrible. And
yeah, bruh.
Yeah. So I know. And I never had acid reflux before. I never had heartburn before like that before. So I didn't know what the fuck that shit felt like. Like shit, for all I knew, I was having fuck.
I just recently, I would say within the last like year or so, like started having like indigestion, heartburn shit. Like
we getting old, man.
It's not even like, yeah, we getting old, bro. That's exactly what it is.
I feel like heartburn and indigestion issues. That shit starts coming when you get 30, man. Like like
that's like the quintessential like old nigga symptoms. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like,
yeah,
that's up there with like your back and like fuck, like, you know what I'm saying? Like, do I need new glasses? Like,
I've had a bad back since my fucking early 20s, thanks to the army. So shit, hey, I'm already in an old nigga status. So now I'm officially this officially has marked my old nigga status. Like I've now reached that level now where I'm an old nigga because like I got fucking heartburn and indigestion shit. Like, so the doctor's telling me like, oh, you can't just eat regular stuff anymore. You know, you got to change your way you're eating and all that. I'm like, well, I don't really eat bugged out shit. Like, well, I mean, like, not crazy shit.
You know what's funny is that like, so mine, it's not even like, you know me, like if anybody knows me, they know I love spicy food. And like it don't even like really catch me if I eat spicy food, but if it's like acidic food, like if I eat too much, like say like pasta, like say I eat like chicken parm, you know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Then like that night my shit will be kind of fucked up. But like what I usually do is like I eat. And then, like, I try not to eat too late, like, eat heavy meals before bed, or if I do, like, if Michelle and I are out and about or whatever, I try to stay up for a while, and, like, I'll drink some water and stay up for a little while, like, let me settle down a little bit.
Yeah.
And then I'm good.
Yeah, that's what I don't do. Like, I eat late. That's the biggest thing for me. Like, I eat late, and like, cause like, you know, on the weekends, if you eat out bullshit or whatever, or you just you have a late night or whatever, and I eat fucking late, and like, after, like, I eat like at 10 o'clock, 11 o'clock at night, like, shit, all right, I'm ready to fucking lay down and shit. Like, nah, that shit fucks me up. And I think that's what fucked me up too. And then also she told me like, oh, stay away from caffeine for a week or two. Like, cause caffeine, if you drink a lot of caffeine, and that's the crazy thing. Like, I don't really drink coffee. Like I drink it, I maybe drink it like 3 times a week. Like, I'm not one of these motherfuckers that just drinks coffee 4 or 5 times a day. Like, I'm not wired off.
But I'm like definitely like a one. I mean, I can go days without coffee. Like sometimes I do drink tea. Just depends, but like sometimes I'll get a coffee, but I rarely have more than one per day.
Yeah,
this is like a long ass day.
Yeah, like I got dudes at work that like they drink coffee all day. Like literally, they'll have a cup in the morning, a cup in the afternoon, a cup at like 2 o'clock. Like what the fuck? Like I mean, you drink coffee like that. But my mom is like that too, though. Like my mom just go the whole day drinking coffee. Like I'm like, bro, I can't do this shit. Like, are you really trying to be that wired?
Bro, I mean, sometimes, like...
I feel niggas need it, but I'm like, damn.
And you're, like, compensating. But see, this is the crazy thing, is that, like, say your sleep's fucked up. So you wake up and you're like, fuck, man, like, I'm mad tired, da-da-da-da-da-da. Then you drink coffee, right? And then boom, 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 you feeling good. Then you start fading, so then boom, you drink some more coffee. Then, like, the cycle repeats itself because you're all hopped up on motherfucking caffeine and you can't fucking sleep. So, like, it literally just, like, resets, like, it's the same, like, fucking cycle, you know what I'm saying? Like, that's the problem that I used to have. So what I started doing is, like, if I was, like, you know, you hit that midday, like, 2 o'clock drag, 3 o'clock drag, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Before you get out of work at, like, 4 or 5 o'clock or whatever. And, I just, I started switching to tea. Like, I'd have, like, green tea after, my lunch.
Yeah.
Boom, good to go. 3 o'clock, have tea. Bang.
Yeah, I love tea. I love tea. I prefer tea. The only reason I fucking drink coffee is because shit, sometimes you need the shit. Like, I got 3 kids, nigga. I gotta, you know, in the morning early, like, nigga, coffee sometimes is clutch, you know what I mean? Like, the coffee do some shit that tea just might not get you right that morning, you know what I mean? But,
I, like, when I go in to school to do my news reads, because I'm on the radio at school, and, like, if I don't have coffee, I'm like stuttering over the news stories and shit. But like if I got coffee, you think my ass is fucking Dan Brokaw, like
yeah,
loud and clear and shit, hitting all the pronunciations, everything.
Yeah, man, it's crazy.
You know, that's the old nigga report for this week.
It's the old nigga report for this week, man. Join us next week for another. Yeah.
Favorite antacids.
Yeah, man. Well, yeah, that they gave me some. They gave me what's the fuck that shit's called?
Prilosec?
No, they didn't give me Prilosec. They gave me Xantax or whatever.
Yeah.
They gave me that shit. That shit got me. That shit got me right.
Yeah, that shit. The ones that I had like they were like minty.
Mm-hmm.
So like my fucking chest was burning and shit. Like I popped one of them joints and drank some water. Like you have to drink like a glass of water with it, bro. That shit was like, man, soothing. I was like, that shit felt like fucking like you holding a piss in for that long. Like that feeling, you're just like, oh,
yeah.
That's exactly how I feel.
Yeah, no, I mean for me, I mean they gave me like the extra medicated version, so like I ain't taste nothing. This is a bunch of fucking aspirins basically. So
hey, fuck it.
It helps. It's helped so far. I haven't had that fucking feeling in my chest anymore. So yeah, I'm good at least.
My shit was like kind of like fucked up last night because Bodega Boys had their other show in Boston, so Michelle and I went. And then there's a spot near the Wilbur here in Boston that it's called New York Pizza. Their pizza is fire. So like they give you these gigantic ass slices. So that's like our drunken like late night Boston. So if we're drunk in town, chances are we end up at NYP. And then I should have fucking known better because I ate that shit. Came home.
The old nigga syndrome.
Yep. Came in the middle of the night. Started burping and shit in my sleep. And I was like, God damn, man, come on.
Yep.
But
be like that, man. So all you young 20-somethings that are living life right now, hey, remember when that 30 mark comes, bro, this is the shit that you got to look forward to.
Yep. And the joys of 30 is when you can't fucking shake off a hangover no more.
Nah.
You can't shake off that night of drinking so easily.
Nope.
Yeah.
Nope.
Welcome. Suffer with us.
Yeah, I can't even like, nigga. Remember, like when you could go out like on a Sunday night and then go to work the next morning and be cool. Like, shit. Now, hell no, nigga. Like, if I did, like, not that I would, but I mean, if I did like a club shit like the night before work or something, like people like to this day still invite me out to like a bar to go drink something on like on a Wednesday night or something. I'm like, bro, I'll be dead. I can't. Hell no. Hell to the fuck no.
Last week, Michelle's friend came from the UK. They lived together. They were friends out in LA when they worked in Hollywood or whatever. And she lives in London now, so she came out to visit or whatever, and we went to brunch, and we were like drinking all day and shit, and fucking next day I was like, whew.
You feeling it, right? Yeah.
I was feeling it, bro. Hell yeah.
Yeah, it'd be like that, man. I'm like, man, I'm half dead. And then don't fly. Like, so you know me, I'm fucked because all my family's on the East Coast and all that. Don't fly and then try to get back. Like usually what I do is like, I'll use up my whole fucking vacation and then I'll go to work the next day. I had to stop doing that, man. Cause I was like, yo, I come back so jet lagged. That's the worst. That's worse than being hungover. That's like when you're just jet lagged out the ass after you get off that fucking flight for like 5-6 hours. Or you've been, the worst is when you make several stops and you just been flying all day. And then you just like recently I did that and I got home at like 11 o'clock. I got home, right? So I was like, oh, and then by the time you settle down, whatever, eat, you know, blah, 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 getting to bed, it's like 12:30. And then I was like, yo, I was dead the next morning. I was dead. I couldn't function. I was like, man, I just want to be like, I was that whole day at work where I was just like, man, I'm tired. Like, yeah. So even flying affects you because now it's like, man, this is crazy. Like, I can't do this no more like I used to. So this is all a dear diary of all being 30. You know what I mean? So yeah.
Shit ain't getting no better either, though.
It's to talk about something that's getting no better. It's the Raptors' performance against the Cavs. Let's just transition to sports.
That's nice.
That's a nice segue. That's a genius segue. Things aren't getting better for the fucking Raptors.
Them niggas just cannot. They can't do it.
Bruh.
And it doesn't help them either that fucking LeBron like went fucking Super Saiyan again. Like, bro, like, this nigga, like, he's wildin', but, like, also, like, you got two guys that you absolutely 100% need to depend on scoring. And, I mean, DeRozan did kind of show up, sort of.
Bruh, I just...
But he ended up not doing shit in the fourth quarter and getting benched. And then Lowry has been fucking absent as fuck. Like,
until last night.
Yeah.
I mean, here's the thing. And I've been bombarded with LeBron stans all day. Basically telling me he's the greatest. I mean, might as well just erase the history books. Like basically the holy grail of basketball began with LeBron as of this point now, with LeBron stans now. So I've been bombarded with that shit all day. And it's like, listen, it was a great shot. Difficult shot. You give him credit for it. But I don't even think this is even about LeBron at this point. Like, what's the bigger story? LeBron or the Raptors' just inability to win big? And it's beyond just, and this notion that, oh, well, the Raptors will be good if they don't play the Cavs. Like, no, they wouldn't. They would still have these same issues if they played other teams. Like, this is a team that for whatever reason, and I know the reason why, they just don't win these kind of games. They don't win big games. And I understand why, because that is a team that's built for 82 games and it's not built for the postseason grind. Like, some teams are built for regular season. Like it's a popular thing in baseball. Like, some teams are built for 162, but not built for, the grind of October. And then there's other teams that could kind of slug through a 162 game schedule. And then come October, they're just a dominant team. This is the same situation with the Raptors. The Raptors are built for 82 games. Everybody talks about their improved bench and, Fred VanVleet and DeLon Wright and all these other acquisitions that they made in the offseason either through trades, free agency, drafts, whatever, to improve this team. And the issue still remains. And I think the two main issues still remains. Number one, they're not built for postseason play. They're just not. They're not. And I don't think you can win a championship when Kyle Lowry and DeMar DeRozan are your best players. Like, I think DeMar DeRozan's overrated. I've said this for years. I don't think he's a number one option on a great championship level team. I don't think he is. I don't think Kyle Lowry is a championship point guard. I think on a great team, those guys are great second, third options. But on a really good team, DeMar DeRozan's going to win you a championship? I don't think so. And it's been proven again and again.
That team, and you know what though, too, also is like, and the team is just not like, I don't think that team is very well built. Like, they are definitely built for regular season, but because they depend so much on DeRozan and Lowry, and like,
they have no real inside presence. They have no real inside presence.
Serge Ibaka tried to turn himself into fucking Rashard Lewis and shit, like, just chucking threes.
Yeah, that's never been his game. That's not where he's at his best. And then Jonas Valanciunas is a solid player, but I mean, what the fuck? Like, he is just like, I said it last night when I was watching the game with my little brother, and I was like, yo, is he on the take? Like, bruh, like, I've never seen a dude just
niggas and point shaving.
Like, bro, he's got to be point shaving because it don't make no sense. Like, dog, every time he catches the ball in the post, he's like, he's fumbling, he's mumbling, or he's fucking missing layups. I'm like, dog, you're 7 foot. Like, seriously, ban that shit. Against Tristan Thompson? You should be, oh, come on, dude. Come on. I don't know what the fuck is going on with Jonas Valanciunas. I mean, listen, I ain't mean to cut you off, but it's infuriating when you talk about the Raptors. And you said that you don't think they're well built. I think they're built well enough as far as being I think they're a nice team. I think they're a good team. I don't think they're a great team. I don't think they're a very good team. I think they're a team that's built, like I said, for 82 games. They're built for 82 games, but when it comes to the postseason, I just don't think you can win with those two guys as your lead players. I just don't. I think they're missing. I think they're missing something.
So much different in the playoffs.
Yeah, I think they're missing something. I really do. I think they're missing that guy, that alpha dog, that guy that says, late in the fourth quarter, get the fuck out of my way. I'm going to bring us home. They're missing that Anthony Davis. They're missing that, obviously, that LeBron. They're missing that guy. They don't have that. DeMar DeRozan is not that. DeMar DeRozan's a nice player. He's a good player. Good player. Borderline all-star level player. Good player. But is he a championship level player? Is he a guy that you say, DeMar DeRozan, that's one of the greatest to ever do it? No. Is he an immortal? Is he a once in a generation type player? No. And the same can be said for Kyle Lowry. But this even goes beyond that. This is a toughness thing. This is a fire thing. This is what's in your, it's a mental thing. It's what's in your gut. This was the year of all years. And I said this on the show. It wasn't last week, but 2 weeks ago when I was on with my boy Ken. I said this is the year. If the Raptors don't do it this year, it's over for that franchise. It's over for that team.
I think you kind of got to blow it up now.
I was going to get to that. Like, I think you have to blow it up now. Cause there's this has been 3 straight years.
What can you do?
What else? Unless you tell me that you're going out in the offseason and getting a Paul George, unless you tell me in the offseason you're going out there and you're getting a DeMarcus Cousins if he's healthy, unless you tell me, or you're pulling off a trade to get an Anthony Davis or something like that, unless you tell me that, then what is the next step? Where are you improving? What is the next step? Like, where do you go from here? It's been 3, and this was the year. This was the make or break year. This was the year that 59 regular season wins, our bench is finally improved. Dwayne Casey's finally playing his bench more, blah, 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 DeMar DeRozan's taking the next step as a player, blah, blah, blah. Kyle Lowry, he'll be better this year in the playoffs, blah, 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 blah. And what happened? They nut up again. Against a Cavs team that's just not that good. I mean, let's be honest. It's not that good.
No, they're not. Like, obviously, that team goes as LeBron goes.
Yeah.
And especially after the trade deadline. But, literally, okay, this is the thing. LeBron's going to get his regardless. There's not a whole lot that you can do to stop LeBron. LeBron's the only thing that can stop himself. And, that's... So LeBron's the only thing that really can stop himself. Like, if LeBron's in go mode, then pretty much all bets are off. You know what I'm saying? But he is one guy. Like, I do get it. Like, he's gonna get his whatever. But, one guy.
Well, I can't say it's
generation.
Well, I can't say that one guy's.
But it's the thing is obviously, yes, basketball is a team sport. We know this. However, for as much as the Raptors are supposedly this, great team, blah, 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 blah. The rest of the Cavaliers are not good, bro. They're not. And
they're just a mismatched team. They're just a team with parts. It's weird. They're just a box of Legos with mismatched Legos. That's just they've got a piece here, they got a good piece here, but then they got a trash piece here. Oh, they got a piece. It's they're this big ass jigsaw puzzle where the pieces don't all fit the way they should, and the coach is an idiot and not great at anything. Anything really? He's just not. I mean, I thought he had a great game 7 against Indiana. I mean, bringing in George Hill when he did, bringing in Tristan Thompson to start. I thought that was probably the best coaching that he's ever done for that team, honestly. But Tyronn Lue's not a big time coach. Here's the problem. And I always get upset. When people say, well, LeBron doesn't have enough help. He doesn't have enough help. Oh my God. The LeBron stands out there. Oh, he doesn't have enough help. Kevin Love has showed up in this series. Tristan Thompson's giving him something. That team, I'm not going to say that team is complete trash. I'm not going to say that's 07 Cavaliers level, because no team will be that bad. But so this team is
damn near.
No. No. I mean, look, this Cavalier team compared to the Cavalier teams they've had in the past couple seasons, of course, yes. But compared to, this team is still a good team, a talented team, and a nice team. They're not a great team, but they're a solid team. You got LeBron, you got Kevin Love, that's 2 very good players. Obviously, LeBron is LeBron, and Kevin Love, when he shows up, when he actually feels like playing, Kevin Love can be a top 30 NBA player. But here's the thing. Like I always get miffed about this whole notion that LeBron doesn't have great. Like it's funny. LeBron stands want it both ways. When they lose, oh well, LeBron doesn't have enough help. He's playing with trash. Oh, he's playing with the 07 Cavaliers level talent. But when they win and Tristan Thompson gives them a great energy off the bench or starting or whatever, J.R. Smith shows up. Kevin Love plays like Kevin Love circa 2012. Oh, well, look at the greatness of LeBron. It's like, no, you can't have it both ways. It's either he doesn't have any help or he does have some help. They just need to play better.
Yeah. Simple as that.
But
it's cut and dry. And that's the thing. And I feel like this is the thing. And we talk about LeBron all the time. And the way that I feel about LeBron is very similar to the way that I feel about Kobe. Like Kobe and a lot of it is the fans that make it so unbearable. Like, sometimes they make it hard to root for dude because they're just, so never hesitant to, be on his dick. And you can be a fan of someone.
But I think the difference is, I think the difference with the Kobe fans, though, bro, is, as a Kobe fan, I love Kobe, and I was one of those, sycophant Kobe fans. You know me. But I was never I said he was the GOAT, but I never I don't think any real Kobe fan honestly said, Kobe's the greatest to ever lace up a pair of sneakers. And it's nobody, Larry Bird. No, he's better than Larry. Oh, he's better than this guy. Oh, these guys don't even compare. Oh, fuck that. Blah, blah, blah. I don't think any real Kobe fan was like that. I mean, of course you always have your extremists and your sycophants. I get that. But the real true fans, the real true basketball fans that just so happen to love Kobe, they just love Kobe and loved and appreciated what he brought to the game and I think they loved Kobe for what he did and what he brought. And they thought he was one of the greats and defended that, but the LeBron fan, there's a different level, bro. There's a different level. LeBron fans, I legitimately feel and these aren't just sycophant LeBron fans that I know. These are legitimate basketball. I legitimately feel LeBron fans feel LeBron is better than everybody that has ever played basketball. And it's not even close. I've had dudes tell me LeBron has no competition. LeBron is the greatest to ever lace up a pair of basketball sneakers. And it's not even close. What? What?
I think at this stage, honestly, that didn't sound good. I got contractors in the crib, and I just heard a bunch of shit falling.
Yeah, that definitely doesn't sound good.
Sorry.
No, you good. Go ahead.
My life was in shambles, literally, after those damn floods. So, yeah. My whole house, my entire first floor is getting replaced, so bear with me. With LeBron, I think really, there's no clear cut, GOAT, in basketball. I personally think that this Michael Jordan. That's me. And Michael Jordan's not even my favorite basketball player ever. But I don't think that you can sit there and say, from anybody, a Jordan stan can't say this, a Kobe stan, a LeBron stan. You can't be a fan of basketball and say, this person is the undisputed GOAT. Hands down, no competition. This person has no equals. They have no rivals. They have no peers. You can't do that, dog, because with basketball, everything is, very generational. There's things that go on within certain time frames and certain matchups and things like that, that when you give a positive credit to someone like a Michael Jordan, the things that you won't hold against him are things that people will hold against Kobe or LeBron or vice versa. You know what I'm saying? So, people will say, oh, this person played in the East. They'll say, a lot of people that don't like LeBron, they say, oh, well, he has a cakewalk to the finals every year. But, dog, you still gotta fucking make it. You know what I'm saying? I don't think that you can necessarily always hold someone's era against them. Him getting, smoked by the fucking Spurs, that's not a good look. However, you gotta look at the team. You know what I mean? Nobody sit here and is crazy enough to say that Jordan did it by himself, or Kobe did it by himself, or Shaq did it by himself, or Wilt did it by himself, and so on and so on and so forth. It just doesn't work that way. And I feel like LeBron unfairly gets that type of criticism because for as much hype as he does get as being this transcendent talent, and he absolutely 100% is. He's probably one of the best physical athletes to play the game.
I've said it on this show. I've said it talking shit with homies, all that. I said, if you want to talk about probably the most physically talented, gifted athlete to ever play basketball, of course it's LeBron. I don't think we've ever seen a combination of athleticism, of a combination of speed, talent, height, agility, every variable that you want to put into the equation to make a basketball player. I don't think you've ever seen that all combined in one guy. But I don't think that solely makes you the greatest of all time. I agree with you.
LeBron does have like a very high basketball IQ.
He does. I hate LeBron because I hate how he acts. I hate his passive aggressiveness. I hate the bitch shit that he does. I hate his fans, obviously, the shit that he does off the court. I feel like the stuff that he does with the constant, well, I don't know if I'm going to sign. I don't know. The free agency games that he plays. I feel like, that Brett Favre shit. It's annoying. It's like, dude, if you want to stay somewhere, just sign the fucking contract, sign long term. I feel like it hurts his teams in a lot of ways. I feel like in a lot of situations, it has hurt. It
definitely handcuffs them.
It handcuffs them because I feel like, and it affects the team because it's like, we're thinking of, is this guy going to be here? Is this guy going to be, not going to be here? Like, it's a constant. And then, they're getting asked questions about LeBron's status going forward. Is he going to sign? So I feel like those are the reasons why I've always hated LeBron. And the number one reason why I've always hated LeBron was that even early on, from when he first stepped onto the court, like everybody was telling me, yes, this is the next Michael Jordan. Here, like him. This is the new guy. Shove him down our throats. Like, no, he's got to earn that. He's got to earn that distinction. And I felt like the media, fans, everybody was telling us from an early, no. Like, no, I know you like Kobe, but no, this is the guy now. Oh, Tim Duncan. Yeah, that's nice. No, this is the guy. No, we're telling you. No, like him. No, like him. No, like, dog, chill. Like, he's got to earn that.
To be fair though, too, like, that's kind of like a media narrative, and like.
But that also plays into it, though.
I don't necessarily think that that's really his fault.
It's not his fault. It's not his fault. I agree with you. It's not his fault. I mean, he's not.
Has he not? Honestly, like, really lived up to expectations?
Oh, he's exceeded. I think he's exceeded expectations. Honestly, I like people think I hate LeBron the player. I don't. I think LeBron the player is a tremendous basketball player. I'm a LeBron hater, just like many people, but I can't sit here and tell you LeBron sucks. I can't sit here and tell you LeBron's overrated. I can't sit here and tell you LeBron is the worst player I've ever seen. The guy is he's probably one of the greatest basketball players I've ever seen. He's in my top 10. He's at least in my top 10, 11, 15-ish area. He's in that discussion. There's no doubt about it. There's no basketball player that can
I've really come around on LeBron. Honestly, like, he's up there, dog. Like, he does some shit, bro. Like,
dog, if you want to tell me that LeBron is in your top 10, is in your top 5, top 10, I can't argue with you. What I argue is he the greatest basketball player?
Honestly, you know what the correct answer to that is, fam? It depends on what you are looking for in a basketball player.
I take everything into account. Everything. Put it all rolled into one. Like, to me, I feel like if you're going to have a top 5 of basketball players, to me, it starts with the 3 centers, obviously. I can't take you seriously as a basketball fan if you tell me that your top 5 doesn't include, in some combination, I'm not saying in specific order, but I can't take you seriously as a basketball fan if you tell me that your top 5 doesn't include Kareem, Wilt, Russell. In some order. Some will put Russell first, some will put Kareem first, some will put Will first, in some order. Those 3 have to. Like, if you are a basketball purist, knowledgeable fan, those 3 have to be in your top 5. Like, I won't even talk to you if those 3 are not in your top 5. Then obviously you put Jordan in there, then you put Magic, Bird. Like, to me, my top 5 is Jordan, Kareem, Wilt, Russell, Magic. Then my 6, 7 is Bird, Kobe, Oscar, West. And then if you want to put LeBron in that, I have no problem with that. I would put in the top 10 myself. I would put Duncan in the top 10 over LeBron right now. But if you wanted to put LeBron over Duncan right now, I can't argue that. But these LeBron stands that just sit there and say, oh, well, number 1 is LeBron, number 2 is LeBron, number 3 is LeBron, number 4 is LeBron, number 5 is Jordan. That's it. Like, do you watch basketball? Like,
I think that's fair. And that goes along with me saying, like, when I preface this whole thing that we've been talking about, is that the fans, like, of these guys are oftentimes, like, more, like, aggravating, and they make you root against them. You know what I'm saying? Like, and it's crazy that it sounds that way, but, like, if you think about it, it's just like, yo, like, this nigga is really fucking obnoxious. But you're, like, projecting that onto him from his fans. Because a lot of people are casual basketball fans. Or they just look at stat sheets and things like that. But I also want to kind of put it out there that, like, a lot of times our ideas of basketball are... And it's not really a maybe. Our ideas of basketball are shaped by the era that we grew up watching basketball in. So you and I, like, you know, we're in our 30s, we're in our early 30s. Our idea of basketball is hero ball. Like, is guys, you know, taking last second shots and things like that. So when people like to cherry pick against LeBron, I can't believe I'm going to these extents to defend LeBron, because I never thought I would, but... And it's not like anyone in particular. I guess it's kind of the narrative. Is that people say, like, oh, well, you know, he hasn't hit, like, a clutch shot. Or, oh, he passed out of the last second shot. But, like, context matters. And you can't chastise a guy for passing up a shot when there's an open teammate. Kevin Love is open in the corner.
Right.
That's a high fucking percentage shot.
Right. But there is a moment, I feel, in a great player's life, career, whatever you want to call it, that you have to take that shot. Like I get the smart. You want to tell me in game 78 of the regular season, that's the smart play. Got it. You even want to tell me in the second round against the Bulls, that's a smart play. But there comes a moment. Listen, let me.
Contested shot over.
Oh, I get that. Like, if you got 3 dudes on you, like, of course, I understand that. But there comes a point in time where you have to have that iconic moment. You have to have that moment that says, this is my moment. This is my time. This is why I make the big bucks. This is why I'm on every commercial. This is why I am put on this pedestal. Because these are the moments. Now, he's had, and this shot last night is one of them, obviously.
One last night.
Absolutely. Yeah, definitely. And of course, like, I don't disagree with that. I just feel like here's my biggest, the one thing I've always said about LeBron, and I think that this is true. And the reason why I use that as a point to say that Jordan was better. I never saw Jordan have a 2011 finals moment. Now, people will say, that's not fair. That was so long ago. That was still this decade. This wasn't like 20 years ago. Still this decade.
Right, he completely shit the bed.
Like, I never, ever saw Jordan in a Jordan. I'm not saying that Jordan didn't have bad series, or early on against the Pistons, he had some issues, even though he individually was great. That's a narrative too that people want to spin on you. Oh, Jordan was bad against the Pistons early on. No, he was great. Personally, him individually was great. The team was bad, but I never saw Jordan have a meltdown like that. Like, that was, that has to count. Like, people always say, well, you can't hold that against the guy. Like that.
The only thing close to that is when Gary Payton was clamping his ass. And then for whatever reason, they decided to switch out the defensive game plan. And as soon as that happens, even then, that doesn't even compare. I mean, this was Magic 84 final. That was Magic 84 finals level of just a complete and utter meltdown. Like, the dude averaged, I forget the stats. Don't quote me on the stats or whatever, but I think through 6 fourth quarters, that was a 6-game series. Through 6 fourth quarters, I think he averaged a total of 17 points. Like, that's all he accumulated throughout the entire fourth quarter. 17 points total through 6 games. Like,
I never, like, you want to be compared to these greats. You want to be up there with the Jordans, the Birds, the Magics, the Kareems. Those are your moments. That is your time to shine. Like, so I hold that, so I bring that up every time somebody wants to tell me LeBron is better than Jordan. Like, no, that right there alone eliminates him from the conversation, because Jordan never had that moment.
That's like very fair, like, analysis, and that's a very fair, like, counterpoint to it. I think we as fans often do get emotional about things, even though we won't admit it. Like, nah, fuck you, like, I ain't mad. Yeah. But I do see this weird thing about LeBron fans is that maybe it's just like a microcosm of, like,
I feel like LeBron. Yeah. That's what I was about to say. Yep. You took the words out of my mouth.
Can't take like a criticism, like, the thing that comes out of somebody's mouth is, oh, you're just hating. Like, no, dog. Like, hating is not and will never be compared to giving criticism. Criticism is not just saying shit just to say it. It's just like what you said. That's not just saying, like, oh, fuck that nigga. Yeah. Like, okay, that's hating. But if you can say, like, hey, for me, and this is me, this is Justin, this is Manny, this is whomever, this is my reason as to blank, 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 and X. You know what I'm saying? Like, how can you can debate somebody? You and I have debated for hours and days on end. But never once, if you bring someone a debate, really a counterpoint, something that's well thought out, you can't consider hating. Like, you're better off, instead of wasting all that energy into making up shit, just, I don't like that nigga. That's all you gotta say.
Like, sometimes you just don't like, sometimes you just don't.
Just don't like it. Like, you just don't like it. Like,
I have reasons why I don't like LeBron. Like, I've always eloquently expressed reasons why I don't like LeBron. Like, I feel like my reasons are valid to me. That is, like, I don't know LeBron. And I always say this. I hate LeBron the basketball player. Like, I don't hate LeBron the person. LeBron the person seems like he's a good guy. He seems like he's a smart guy. I commend him for not getting in trouble, for not falling to the temptations of being great and a superstar and a prodigy. Exactly. Like, I respect LeBron the man. He seems like he's a good man. I don't know him from Adam or Eve. If I walked into him in the street, he seems like he would be a good guy that I would have a conversation with. But that's different. That's different. Like me, I love Kobe the basketball player. Kobe, the person could be an asshole probably. And it wouldn't surprise me.
Probably is.
He probably is. That's the distinction that we're trying to make here. Like, I praise the basketball player. Or hate the basketball player. I don't hate the person, the individual, like, and the thing about the fans, and you always say this about the fans, like, I've had this argument now with J. Cole and the great J. Cole debate. There's a level of J. Cole haters that have been born because of the fans being so pro J. Cole and, like, J. Cole's the greatest thing ever. And I get it. Fans of musicians and music acts can get annoying. But that's every musician. That's every music. Like, you don't think Jay-Z fans are annoying at a certain point to somebody that doesn't like Jay-Z? You don't think, take it beyond hip hop. You don't think AC/DC fans could be annoying when you compare AC/DC to fucking, Kiss or fucking Led Zeppelin? Like, of course. You can say that about any music fan base. You know what I mean? So I don't know. I think listen, I didn't even want to get into a whole LeBron conversation. I wanted to get this more towards the Raptors, because I think it's beyond LeBron now at this point. I don't even think it's about LeBron. Like, I just think this is about the Raptors. Like, and just to kind of center it back to that, like, what do you, like, obviously they're done. This series is over. They're not winning game 4. And even if they win game 4, they're still not winning this series. Like, what do you, if you're Masai Ujiri, like, put on your GM hat for a second. Like, what do you do with this franchise right now? I'm going to say the franchise, but this team as currently, incarnated is at a crossroads. What do you do?
Well, I think first of all, you have to, the GM, I have to figure out what I want this team's identity to be before I do anything, before I start moving people, before I start trading, before I start releasing, drafting even. I have to figure out what I want this team to be. You know what I'm saying? But Lowry just signed a huge deal. Was it last year? 2 years ago?
I think it was last year. I think both of them signed their deals about around the same time.
I'm not mistaken. And it's going to be hard as fuck. So
to move that contract.
This is not so good GMing because you do got to bank on your guys. I get that. You have to bank on your guys. Those are the guys that have gotten you to where they're going, where you're at now. But if that shit don't work out, whoo. And let's see. It was last year, Kyle Lowry, 3-year, $100 million for Kyle fucking Lowry.
Yeah.
Who's taking that? You're stuck with him, basically. If DeRozan has a friendly contract, you may be able to move him.
And DeRozan just got a big deal too.
DeRozan got $145 million. He got a 5-year deal.
He got a max.
For the most part.
Yeah.
You are stuck. Maybe you can try and move Ibaka. I don't know what kind of deal he's on.
Ibaka just signed an extension too, didn't he? Ibaka just signed an extension too, if I'm not mistaken, because I think he got to Toronto last trade deadline, and he was
3 years, $65 million
for Serge Ibaka. Oh my god! Yes, who gave him that fucking deal? Like, and I like Masai Ujiri. I think he's a good GM. I really do.
You know that nigga's like 3 to 4 years older than he's listed.
Probably. He looks older than what the fuck he is. So fuck that.
I don't trust Dominican birth certificates, and I don't trust West African birth certificates.
Facts.
No bullshit.
Facts.
In soccer, because they have, U18, U17, U16, so on and so forth, they have World Cups for each age bracket. Mm-hmm. And what they started to do is they do this like X-ray test where these bones there's bones in your wrist, I think it is. They don't fuse until you're like 16 or 17 or 19, some shit like that. They don't fuse until you're of that age. So they X-ray these niggas' arms to make sure that they are the age that they're supposed to be.
That's crazy. That's why. I mean, no, it's just crazy to think about. Like, bro, we got to make sure that we got to fucking do an X-ray to make sure bones are fusing to fucking deduce age. It's crazy, but I feel you.
Niggas be scamming, dog.
I feel you, nigga. Hey, I feel you. Shit, Dominicans, the Caribbean players have been doing it for years in baseball, decades.
I'm pretty sure Andrew Jones is old as fuck too. I don't think that nigga was young. That's my guy though, so I won't throw no shade.
But if you're Masai Ujiri though, seriously, but if you're Masai Ujiri, so obviously let's assume you're locked into these guys.
You're kind of stuck with those guys, so you kind of have to salary dump. See if anybody will take on Ibaka. I don't know what you're going to get for Valanciunas after this stage. We're kind of in limbo. I mean, there's like you said earlier. They're not going to get any better. Like, they're suddenly not going to learn how to play when the lights get bright. They're not going to suddenly, like, bang, like, lights coming on. They are who they are at this point. Because Kyle Lowry is, close to 30?
No, Kyle Lowry is 30 already, I think.
Is he 30?
I think if he's not 30, he's like 29 going on 30. I thought, I'm under the impression Kyle Lowry is like 31, 32.
He is 32.
Yep, I knew it.
Yep. And DeMar DeRozan is probably, 27?
Yeah, so DeMar DeRozan is like 27, 28.
So he's like in his prime, but like...
But again, is DeMar DeRozan the best player on a championship team? Like, that's what I'm saying. Like, is DeMar DeRozan...
He's 28. He's going to turn 29 this summer. But like... A wise coach said, they are who we thought they were.
Oh, and that's another thing. For Dwayne Casey, and I like Dwayne Casey. He's a hell of a coach. He's proven that he's a good coach. But Dwayne, please, I don't need you standing at the podium at game 2. This isn't who we are. Oh, it isn't, Dwayne? It isn't. Who are you then? Who are you? Are you the Clippers?
I've seen this movie before.
Are you exactly? I've seen this film play out many a time. Many a time. So who are you doing? I'm sorry. That shit just really pissed me off. Like, really? This is what you're going to say? This is what you're going to say in the post game? Well, this isn't who we are. Oh, really? Oh, really, Dwayne? Because I think us two here, along with the rest of the basketball world, has seen this team be who they are and see this incarnation of this team play for the last 3 years. So this is very much who you are. Sorry. But but I mean, I think if I were to put the GM hat on for a second, if I was to put on the GM hat for a second,
real quick before you do that, if I were the GM, I would just have to hope that someone fires me, honestly.
That's just like, nobody's gonna fire Masai Ujiri.
To be honest, so let me ask you, what would you do? What did you do
if I'm putting
you're sitting in your office.
Well, I would have to look at this long term. Number one, right now I'm looking at the landscape of the Eastern Conference. Let's just say first of all, LeBron's not going anywhere. Either he's staying in Cleveland. I don't buy he's going to LA. Why would he go? First of all, even if LA made sense, why would he go to the same conference as the Warriors? If he can't beat the Warriors in one 7-game series in the finals, then why would he go there where he has to play them 4 times a year and he has to play them in the semi-conference finals, every year going forward? So I don't buy that. Even if he brings 14 niggas with him, why would he go there? I don't buy it. So either he's staying in Cleveland or he's going somewhere like Philly. Those are the only two options to me. And this is what I legitimately see. I see him probably signing another 1+ deal with Cleveland. I think he'll stay there for another year and play this dumb bullshit ass drama for another offseason next summer. But whatever. I think you would have to look. So let's assume that LeBron's not going anywhere, right? LeBron has maybe 3 years of his max left, and I'm being generous. So I have to look at it. So I have to look at it and say, okay, am I better than LeBron going forward? No, because LeBron has already proven me that he could beat me with basically the Harlem Boys Choir. So now I have to look at it. Am I better long-term than Boston? No. Am I better long-term than Philly? No. You're already right there, the 4th best team in the East.
Yep.
So am I getting better? Now, of course, injuries can always change.
Milwaukee might get better.
Yeah. Although I'm still waiting to see with Milwaukee. I'm down on Milwaukee, so I'm still waiting to see with that team. But just for the sake of argument, I'll give you Milwaukee. Yeah. I'll give you Milwaukee. That's already 4 teams ahead of me that I feel have a better future than the Toronto Raptors. So I would have to seriously look at it like, this was the year. This was the year that I put all my eggs in the Toronto Raptors basket, and we flopped hard. Flopped. So first, I think I would fire Dwayne Casey. After I just gave this man praise, I think I gotta fire him because I think I've reached all that I could reach with Dwayne Casey. Dog, there's been coaches that have been fired for far less than Dwayne Casey. To me, I think so I'll say this. If I'm in the camp of, if part of me wants to keep this train rolling for another year, maybe 2 at the most, then I think I have to fire Dwayne Casey because I feel like I've reached the peak of what I'm going to be able to do with Dwayne Casey. And not that I think Dwayne Casey's a bad coach. I just feel like when you've lost this much with the same coach, I think at some point you need a new voice. You need a different coach. Not necessarily saying that Dwayne Casey's bad, but I just think you have to go in a different direction. So I would do that. And then I would seriously think about signing a DeMarcus Cousins. I need that transcendent X factor that's going to take my team from a very good team to a team that's going to be holy shit. If he's healthy, now this is all predicated on DeMarcus. Now, how much the DeMarcus Cousins wants to go play in Toronto, that also plays a role. But whatever. If the money is, and I'm sure they're going to have to probably pull off some deals to trade guys. Obviously, Valanciunas is going to have to go. Ibaka, I would think about trading, but I would try to sign a DeMarcus Cousins because when I sign him, that changes the entire complexion of my team. They're a player.
It's tough though too because I just want to add this little caveat to that. An Achilles injury for a big man is tough. we've seen guys come back from ACLs, from patellar injuries. Fucking Achilles is bruh.
It's a lot, especially for a big man. Especially for a big man is a lot. Yes, I agree.
And fast, like not to like I have an Achilles injury right now for rugby, and I've been going to physical therapy. I cannot imagine how painful that shit would be if you tore it.
Mm-hmm.
Like niggas were saying that that's the strongest tendon in your body because it bears all of your weight. Bro, I can't even do a squat. Like, I can't bend at the knees with my feet planted because my Achilles is fucked up. So, I can't imagine, like, if your shit is torn,
yeah, how
that feels. You gotta run, jump, you're changing direction quickly on a hard surface. Like, that's brutal. You know what I mean? So, and how old is Boogie? He's probably about 27, 28, right?
Yeah. I think he's like 27, 28.
It's something you have to keep in the back of your mind.
But I'm just using Cousins because I'm just using Cousins because that level of player. Yeah.
He's the only person that's realistically, that's like one of the only targets that's like attainable.
Yeah, because Paul George is not going there. Even Paul George, I think, would help them. I think Paul George makes them a better team.
I think Paul George is fucking point shaving this fucking...
Yeah, we're not even going to discuss Paul George. Playoff P came up real small.
Hey, let me ask you this. You think Melo's like done? Completely washed? Or do you think it's Billy Donovan?
Well, part of that I think is Billy Donovan. First question, do I think Melo's done being an all-star level player. Yes, I do. I think Melo can still be a Joe Johnson, a Jamal Crawford type. I think he has to change. I think he has to realize that, hey, if I'm going to continue my career in the NBA, I have to come off the bench. I have to be an instant offense microwave guy off the bench. And I think that's actually the perfect role for him because I think that he can kind of make a second act of his career by being that. But as a he'd be a good sixth man. But as a guy that gets 20, 25, 30 touches a game and you expected him to average 25 points, those days are done. I think it's done. Yeah. So, but I also think
point per game guy off the bench.
Oh, I still think he could. He could probably. I think Melo could still score. I think Melo could probably give you 20 points off the bench consistently. But I just don't think he's a guy that.
I think Billy Donovan's quote unquote system. I think it's a combination of the two. I think he's a terrible fucking coach. I don't think that his game plans are suitable for the pros. I think he's a hell of a college coach.
Yeah, I agree.
And I do think that he's going to end up resigning or, he's
not going to resign. I think he's going to fire. He's going to get fired, and I think he's going to end up back in college. He should have never went to the pros. But
he did.
I mean, I know why he did it. The money was great, and who would pass up that opportunity? But yeah, he's just not cut out to be a college. He's not cut up to be an NBA coach.
He's not.
He's just not.
He's not. Just his.
But I don't think he's the biggest problem. I don't think he's the biggest problem with that team, though. I think Russell Westbrook continues to be the biggest problem with that team.
Russell Westbrook's lack of basketball IQ, like his consistent lack of it.
Yeah.
It amazes me every single
If he doesn't change the way he plays, that team he's not going to be a championship level point guard. He's just not. You cannot win a championship with Russell Westbrook playing that way. You just can't. I'm sorry. And I know these Russell Westbrook fans will tell me, oh, well, he's averaged a triple-double 2 straight years. Let's be honest. It's great. That's fine. Half of it he cherry-picked. I mean, let's be real. I mean, he cherry-picked a lot of that shit. Like, how serious do we even take that? But whatever. Even if you take it serious at face value, like, that's wonderful. That's an individual statistic achievement. That has nothing to do with winning. It has nothing to do with winning a championship.
Yeah, nothing. His style of play is not conducive for that.
I don't think so. I really don't. I don't think it's conducive to winning, and I don't think that team is going to win. much with Russell Westbrook as their guy. So that's their problem. I mean, they can give me Billy Donovan. They can give me this. They can give me that. I don't think Billy Donovan is the issue. I think Russell Westbrook's the issue. And that's the reason why that team will continue to falter under Russell Westbrook. And it's not because I don't think he's a great player or he's not a talented player, because I think he's got a lot of talent. I think he's a great player. Absolutely. But I just don't think that when it comes to championship basketball, I just don't think Russell Westbrook can lead you to a championship. That's just my personal opinion. That's just me. I don't think Russell Westbrook can lead you to a championship.
His style of play is not going to win you a title. Like, it's just not. Like, he makes silly decisions with the ball. You know, he does it. He plays defense when he wants to. You know, I like Russell Westbrook. I think he's a hell of a fucking basketball player. But I hope people see now that this is why Kevin Durant left.
Yeah.
KD saw the writing on the wall. He's like, bro, I'm not going to be able to do this with him.
No, and I've said it on the show here. I've said it to you. Kevin Durant leaving wasn't the problem. The fact that he left to go to the Warriors was the problem. Yeah, but the fact that he left was very smart of him, because that combo wasn't going to work. They weren't going to win with Russell Westbrook. Like, they just weren't. They weren't. Let's be honest. Let's put it out there. Let's be honest. They were not. To me, Russell Westbrook is the new Allen Iverson. AI was great. I loved AI, but AI's style of play, AI's way of playing was not going to win that team a championship. And AI was not going to defer to anybody. Like, that's what made AI great. Was also his biggest downfall and his biggest detriment was that he wasn't going to defer to anybody. He wasn't going to take a backseat to anybody. And Russell Westbrook is that same type of guy. I'm Russell Westbrook. I'm going to, like, I knew Paul George and Russell Westbrook wasn't going to work. Paul George is a poor man's Kevin Durant. So if the original incarnation didn't work, why would the lesser incarnation work?
Poor man's KD. I think their games are a little different, but I get what you're saying.
They're different, but you know what I mean. But obviously Paul George and Kevin Durant, who you obviously are taking Kevin Durant 15 times out of 15, obviously.
Yeah, and I think that's certainly fair. You know what I mean? It's just that, like, I don't know. I think that I don't think that Westbrook. I don't know how it gets better for them. Like, they really put a lot of their eggs in one basket, like with having obviously Westbrook there, and then also, you know, bringing in Paul George and bringing in Melo. Like, they really took a hard gamble, and a lot of people were like, "Oh, this team's going to go to the Western Conference Finals," and da 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 da. But, like, again, the team goes. If Russell Westbrook decides that he doesn't want to fucking blow it, they can be a good team. But I think it's time to move Russ to the 2. Honestly, I said that 5 years ago. That's the only way that team will win. Like I said, when they still had Durant, I said they should go out and get a Rondo, and they should move, and they should move Russell to the 2. I feel like that's the only way that team's going to win. But if Russell Westbrook continue, and now he's not moving off to the 2, why would he do that? Why would he do that? Look, it was a gamble that was worth taking. I think it was a worthy gamble, because I think that you have to kind of sometimes as a franchise take that gamble. But I said this, I don't know if I said this to you, but I said this when the day KD left, they need to blow it up. If I were them, I'd start over. Once Kevin Durant leaves, I start over. I'd trade Russell Westbrook. Imagine what they could have gotten back for Russell Westbrook. Just imagine. Had they traded Russell Westbrook that same summer they lost Kevin Durant, just imagine what they could have got back. They could have probably got back 2 number 1 picks, future number 1 picks. You could have set your franchise up for the next great quote unquote Thunder's run. Like that's what you could have done. But they decided to keep Westbrook, and fine, I guess that was the smart play at the time for them. I don't necessarily agree with it. And now guess what? 3 years later, well, 2 years, they're back to being at a crossroads. Cause what if Paul George leaves? Not only did you take a gamble, but
and acquired Paul George, knowing that he was a free agent, but now he leaves. And oh, by the way, the two guys that, he's gone. And oh, by the way, the two guys that you traded, the two guys that you gave up to get Paul George have become borderline very good to great players in Indiana. That's also not a good look on Russell Westbrook.
Nope. Not at all. Oladipo having a breakout season. I mean, but Oladipo did go back to being the not so great Oladipo after he really blew it for the Pacers in, I forget which game it was.
Game 4.
Game 4. Game 4? Was it Game 4?
It was Game 4. That was when they lost that series. Game 4. Because you have LeBron on the ropes. You have them down 2-1. They had just blown a 20-something point lead. Like, if you want to beat LeBron James, that's your game. That's the game you have to win. You have to put him in a 3-1 hole, and not that he can't come back from a 3-1 hole. Obviously, we know that. But
But what that does is that puts the pressure on the rest of the team to do it. You know what I mean? That puts the pressure on the rest of the team to do it, because we know LeBron can do it, but do you trust Kevin Love? Do you trust Jordan Clarkson?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, I agree.
You know what I'm saying? Like,
I agree.
So, but can we talk about all this gassing that Ben Simmons has been getting?
Yeah, I was gonna transition over. I mean, I know that's your boys, that's your squad. You know what I mean? We want to bury the lead with your boys. I mean, yeah, hey man, listen, I to start this series, and this is before everything had played out, obviously. So I didn't have the luxury of hindsight, but I thought, I was like, the idea the Phillies somehow the favorite in this series. Why? Like, Boston's a good team, even without Kyrie, even without Gordon, even though haven't had him all year. Like, this is still a very good team. This is an experienced team. And look, I still got to see Philly when the moment matters. Look, I don't count Miami. Miami was not a very good team. Miami was a borderline playoff team. Miami wasn't any good. And I know I picked Miami to beat the Sixers in 7, but that
needs a closer. They don't have a closer.
The Sixers? The Sixers need a closer?
Yeah.
Here's the thing with the Sixers. And we'll get to Boston in a second. But here's the thing with the Sixers. I think the Sixers are just young. I just think that they're young. I just think that they're inexperienced. They're young. They've never been here before. Like, this was a team that I saw the stats somewhere, so don't quote me if I misquote this, but in their four previous seasons, they only won 52 games in total. And this year they won 52 games. That's a huge jump to basically be a fucking doormat for 5 years. For basically a decade, they were a doormat. And now in one fell swoop, in 1 year, they become a power, a good team, because they have a good talent. They've drafted well. They tanked, but they did what they had to do when they tanked. So give them credit, I guess, for that. But you can't just say, oh, in one season, we're going from doormats to perimeter power, to perennial powers. You have to develop that. You have to learn that. Like, that just doesn't just come out of nowhere. Like, even Shaq and Kobe had to go through some growing pains. Like, so Simmons and Embiid are going to have to, this is just their growing pains. I'm not worried about this, because I think Ben Simmons, I mean, this is his Utah Jazz series. What that 97 and 98 Jazz series was to Shaq and Kobe. This is what that series is to the Sixers. They've got to learn. They just got to get better. They're young. They're inexperienced. Throwing the ball away late, that's just inexperience.
Yeah, and I think, like, while, yes, it is an experience, but, like, the team as a whole, but look at, like, this is Terry Rozier's first time starting.
Yeah, but
in the playoff, this Jason Tatum is 20 years old.
and you're welcome, by the way. You're welcome for that, by the way.
Yeah, thanks, Duke.
And I remember you were the one that was on Josh Jackson's nutsack. Oh, I want Josh Jackson. Oh,
I wasn't on Josh Jackson.
No, you wanted Fultz, remember?
I was cool on Fultz. I just wasn't sure. Like,
well, I told you around the draft. I said take Jason Tatum, and you're not disappointed. But anyway, I was like, I just wasn't sure. Like,
I wasn't sure what they were gonna do with Tatum. Like, okay, what do you guys do? Like, you know what I mean? Do you guys, we have Hayward? Like, what are we gonna do? So, I wasn't sure, but I wasn't sure what they were gonna do with Fultz either. So I was like, yo, like, I don't know. Like, I don't know what you guys are gonna do, but it ended up
working out perfectly for you guys.
It ended up working out perfectly. Like the Gordon Hayward injury was like a blessing in disguise. Because he ended up getting hurt. Tatum plays that same position. So and he got to really cut his teeth, when it really counted. So you know what I mean? Like it ended up working. But this is the thing, like Ben Simmons, for all the hype that he's gotten, this kid needs a jumper.
In the worst way possible. Yeah, he needs a jumper.
Right.
I mean, yeah.
Like people are like, oh yeah, when you can do the things, like when he was mixing up people last series and dribbling behind his back and doing this and that and the third and dribbling past people and making dudes look silly. Everyone was like, oh, you don't need a jumper when you can do that. And I'm like, you still do.
Yeah.
You still 100% do, because I watched this guy. The thing about him not having the jumper is that while you maybe can get away for a little while, not having a jumper, but this dude was scared to shoot yesterday. Like, I watched this game. He was shook. He got in front of the rim and dished it out. Just passed it out. And I've seen him do that 3-4 times within the span of the game. And I don't know if it's because, Tatum was guarding him for a while. Oh, Jaylen Brown was guarding. They were kind of just switching off on him. And I don't know if that got into his head, but he stunk bad.
Oh, he's been terrible. He's been horrible this series. Nobody's gonna debate that. I mean, he's been fucking trash this entire series. I give it to you, but I know but going back to the whole
when you play against a good defensive team, you can't have limited tools at your disposal.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, look,
you know what I'm saying, but also the Celtics are playing amazing basketball right now. It's been really enjoyable for me to watch because, I'll admit it, when Kyrie started getting his injury problems and then Daniel Tice went down, who'd been playing really well for us coming up into the playoffs, in the front court, a position where we didn't really have a lot of depth to begin with. I was like, damn, our season's over. But Rozier really stepping into...
Rozier's been Rozier's been eye-opening, bro.
He's been a star, man. Not even, capable starter, but, star. He has been playing like a star. And Rozier's 24, dog. For that to happen, Jaylen Brown has been balling. This particular, he's a little banged up. His hamstring's a little messed up. Mm-hmm. But he gets buckets when it needs to. He plays great defense. He runs the floor. He's a high basketball IQ guy that has some skill. And it's just the way that, and also Brad Stevens kind of been. I think Brad Stevens should be coach of the year, just based off of these guys having devastating injuries. And they're still playing at a high level. You know how I feel. You know how I feel about Brad Stevens. I love Brad Stevens. I think he's a hell of a coach. I think he's the second best coach in the NBA right now, behind Popovich. He is not a good coach. That is a great coach. When people want to bring me Dwayne Casey and this guy and this, no, that's a great coach. Brad, because you know a great coach when you see it. When you see him, you can just know. That's a great coach right there. And Brad Stevens is a hell of a coach. A hell of a coach. And the way he's got these guys playing, and just to go back a little bit to your comment about what I said about the inexperience with the Sixers, and I know what your rebuttal was going to be. Well, Tatum was young. Terry Rozier's young. All these guys are young. But you can't understate culture, man. This is what upsets me when I talk to people about in sports and people underrate culture. Oh, it's not that important. Culture's overrated. Blah, 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 blah. No, it's not. Culture is very important. It's
when I say culture is important. You have to have that winning culture. You have to establish that. And that's the thing with Philly. Philly hasn't established that yet. They don't have a culture of winning. They've been a doormat for a decade. Like, they don't have that culture of winning yet. Down pat. You know what I'm saying? There's a reason why the Spurs have been able to win for so long, because they have, not to mention the great players, obviously that goes a long way, but they have a culture of winning. They have a culture. It's built, it's ingrained in that organization, in every fabric of that organization. And the same thing is in the Celtics. They have a culture of winning, and the Sixers have to get to that level. And that just doesn't come within 1 year. But be that as it may, yeah, Simmons has been trash. He's been terrible. He's been trash. And, but here's the guy that's not getting enough slander. Embiid's got to be better too. You know, look, I like Embiid, and I think Embiid is great, and I like Embiid. But, you know, here's my biggest problem with Embiid. And I know people say, oh, I'm being a hater and blah, blah, blah. Da, da, da. No, I'm not being a hater. But Embiid likes to talk. He did a lot of talking. That was what I was going to say. You took the words right out of my mouth. This is my biggest problem with Embiid. Embiid likes to talk a lot, and a lot is on the resume. Embiid likes to pop off a lot, and not a lot is on the resume. Like, I like Embiid talking, but win some games, okay? Al Horford has outplayed you in this series. Outplayed you. Like, and not by a little, a lot. And let me get some shout outs to Al Horford, because I was having this discussion with people, like, how, you know, what makes a great player? I was having this discussion with my little brother, and I was like, Al Horford's a great player. But you know what makes Al Horford a great player? It's not numbers, because obviously nobody would take, you know, Al Horford over Anthony Davis or something like that. Like, obviously. But it makes him a great player because all the little things he does. It's intangibles. Intangibles can make you a great player. Like, he's a winner. The guy has won everywhere he's been. There's no coincidence that as soon as he got to Atlanta, the Hawks became a winner. There's no coincidence in that. And as soon as he left Atlanta, Atlanta's become a fucking dumpster fire. Is that a coincidence? I would say no. Al Horford is a winner. He does the little things that help you win games. He is we always talk about how guys is he a championship level guy? Al Horford is a championship level player, and that's what makes him great. He could play on any championship team. So just to give him credit, but again, I know everybody's going to take the slander all towards Ben Simmons, as they should, but Embiid's got to get slandered too. He has not played well. And again, Embiid to me is going to get more. Yeah, he's been in foul trouble a lot. And Embiid to me is going to get more abuse on my end of things because Embiid likes to pop off a lot. Embiid has never met a microphone he didn't like. Embiid likes to pop off a lot. And when you pop off, you better follow it up with big games.
He's been in foul trouble. You know, he's gotten away with a lot of calls, and you know, he'll have a couple of dunks, and you know.
Oh, he played well yesterday. He played well yesterday. Okay. Yesterday was his first really good game in this series, because the first two he really didn't play well.
You have to bitch you for all the talk that he does, and for all the process, blah 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 blah. Like, you gotta deliver at some point. Like, you have to. Like, and I think that they're just being outplayed. Yeah,
they're being outplayed. Yeah,
they're being outplayed. And they're being outcoached.
Oh yeah, they're definitely being outcoached. I mean, that's not even a debate.
Play yesterday was just a perfect example. Yeah. Like, Brad Stevens is the only other coach other than Greg Popovich that I would put my season on the line. Game 7 of the finals with, you know, 1 point some odd seconds left. There's only two people that I trust drawing up a play on an inbounds after a timeout, and it's Greg Popovich and Brad Stevens. That's it.
I agree. He's a great coach.
You know,
great.
They're you know, I don't know how long. The thing about the Celtics and being a Celtics fan and watching this is like, okay, how long is this sustainable? Because you got to temper your excitement at some point. You know, I don't know if I'm ready to say, like, hey, like, yeah, we're gonna go to the Eastern Conference Finals. Oh, you guys are. No, you guys are. I mean, you're up 3-0. You're going to the Eastern Conference Finals. They're beating Philly. I mean, I should say the NBA Finals. Shouldn't say Eastern Conference Finals. We're gonna. But, we might be able to take LeBron out. I think, but if there's anyone that I trust to do it again,
it's Brad Stevens. Yeah.
It's Brad Stevens.
I agree. Here's the thing that I would say. And I can start looking ahead because these two Eastern Conference series are over, so there's no need to really discuss anything. Yeah. But here's the thing. I think that Boston is actually in a better position than they were last year when they were the top seed and, had home field advantage and all that. I think that they're in a better position this year. I think they're better defensively. I think they're more athletic. They're younger. I also think that they're hungrier. I think that all the talk about, Kyrie's hurt, so I think they'll be out in the first round, or I think it's motivated that team. I really believe that it's motivated that team. I think this team feels like, well, hold up now. Everybody's, everybody loved us for, 75 games into the season, and all of a sudden Kyrie gets hurt and we're bums basically. So I think it's motivated that team. And I think they're going to give LeBron some I don't know if they'll beat him. I think they can because I think they're good defensively. I think they're better athletically. I think they could score better. I think they're infinitely a better offensive team to me than they were last year when they played LeBron. And plus, I think the Cavaliers are not as good, obviously, as they were last year. So I think they have I don't think that's a pushover series as a lot of people are going to think it's going to be. I think the Celtics might win that series. I really do.
I mean, I shouldn't sit there and say I'm down on my team and da-da-da.
No, I know what you're saying. You're trying to temper expectations. I get what you're saying.
And we're all yeah.
I get it. I mean, I get what you're saying. You're trying to temper expectations because, you don't know how long this roller coaster ride is going to last. I get it. I understand it. And it's smart. And it's smart. But I've been amazed. And I'll be honest with you. I didn't pick Philly to win this series. I picked Boston in 7. But I wouldn't have been surprised if Philly would have beat y'all. I thought this was a series that could have gone either way. I didn't think this was a series that, all the way Philly's the overall favorite. No, I think Boston's still the favorite because they have home court advantage. And I think that they have they have experience, they have the coach. I think they should be at least a slight favorite. But I mean, I've been impressed with Boston. And the thing with Boston is they have a lot of guys. They just got guys after guys after guys.
And that's with the injury.
Exactly. Oh man. Hey, listen, I've always been a huge Danny Ainge fan as a GM. I mean, how can you slander that man anymore? Cause I mean, last offseason, a lot of people were slandering Danny Ainge. I'm like, he's a hell of a GM. Hell of a GM.
Yeah, because last summer, everyone's like, he doesn't want to give up Terry Rozier to get Paul George and blah, 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 blah. And they're like, Terry Rozier is the linchpin of this team and da-da-da-da-da. Now,
hey, he was smarter than us because I was one of those that said, hey, if I got a chance to get Paul George, I'm giving up Terry Rozier. I'll admit I was wrong. But obviously no one could have foreseen.
What's funny is that I hated the Terry Rozier.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, Terry Rozier was a guy that I saw him in college. I liked him. Terry's always had flashes of brilliance. It's just putting the consistency to it. But, I mean, hey, look, Danny Ainge, he's having the last laugh on everybody. And what I like about Danny Ainge is that he's a guy that he just likes to accumulate assets. He's like, hey, I'm just going to accumulate assets. And here's my question for you now. Let's just play this all out. Let's have a happy ending here. Well, a slight happy ending, and say they get to a finals. Obviously, they're not going to beat the Golden State Warriors. And yes, Golden State's going to get back to a finals because Houston's not beating Golden State. But
low key, real quick before we hop off the Celtics, the big change in the way the Celtics were playing, Marcus Smart.
Yeah, Marcus Smart. Yeah, he's been big for y'all. Absolutely, I agree. Him coming back was huge. Let's just say
Danny Ainge got to figure out a way to keep all these guys somehow.
Well, that was going to be my next question. Let's play this out here. Let's say they lose to the finals and to whoever, the Warriors or the Rockets, if you want to be respectful, but it's going to be the Warriors. I
watched one game of that series.
Well, I was going to talk about it because we've given so much time to the Eastern Conference series, but we haven't really touched on the Western Conference.
That should be coming on too late.
I can watch all of them. Obviously, I'm on the West Coast, but I think in the Warriors, I mean, let's touch on that series before, like real quick. Warriors series, I mean, I don't think there's much of a surprise. I mean, the Warriors are just better. I think they're just better than the Pelicans. The Pelicans won game 3. They got physical. They got to the foul line more. They were able to kind of adjust a little bit. Etuan Moore, guys like that stepped up, played well. I don't think that's a surprise. I just think the Warriors are better. I think the Warriors will find a way to win game 4, and then I think they'll close them out in game 5. I don't see the Pelicans really giving the Warriors much any trouble. I just think the Pelicans, they're a good team, but I don't think they're on the level of the Warriors. I really don't. And as far as the Rockets and the Jazz, I love the Jazz. I like what the Jazz are doing. I think the Jazz, Donovan Mitchell has become one of my favorite players in the NBA. That kid has got so much talent. And he's just scratching the surface of how good he can be. And I just like the Jazz overall. Another coach that just doesn't get if I had to rank coaches, I'd put Quinn Snyder as my third or fourth best coach in the NBA. That guy is a hell of a coach. He's up there with Brad Stevens to me. Like, he's a tremendous coach. I think the Jazz are going to give the Rockets a little bit more to think about. I think that's a 6-game series. I just think the Rockets just have way too much firepower. But have you been impressed by the Rockets in this postseason? I haven't.
Not so much.
That team,
I don't think they just. I'm not a big fan of the way they play ball.
See, this idea that the Rockets are, this is the year. It's similar to the Toronto Raptors gospel. This is the year they're going to do it. They're going to finally beat. The Rockets are not going to beat the Golden State Warriors because the Rockets only can play one way. The Rockets are not going to bear down and win a 91-89 game. They're just not. They're not going to do that. The Rockets are at their best when they're scoring 135 points. And that's how they're going to do. And if those threes are falling, they're hard to beat. When those threes are not falling, they're not going to beat anybody. And they're not going to beat the Warriors. And I'll tell you right now, I think that series is a 5-game series. If the Warriors keep playing the way that they're playing, I think the Rockets are out in 5. I don't see the Rockets being a challenge to the Warriors. The Warriors are laughing. This team's going to beat us.
There's no variation in the game.
No, there clearly isn't. But I wanted to get back to Boston. Let's say this all plays out. They lose to the Warriors. This offseason, if you're Danny Ainge, again, put on your GM hat for a second. You're GM fitted. What do you do? Because now you have a situation where you got Terry Rozier, you got all these pieces that are all playing well. Like, who do you trade? Who do you keep? What do you do? I mean, because you can't possibly keep all these guys, and Kyrie's coming back, and Gordon Hayward's coming back, presumably healthy for Gordon Hayward. We'll see. Like, what do you do?
I think that was like a one-off injury. He's never really had injury issues. It was like a one-off injury. They said structurally he's fine. It was just a compound fracture. Like, there's no ligament damage or anything like that. So it's not like he tore an ACL.
Right. No, I get it.
Tore his Achilles.
But you always have to assume guys are going to come back, bounce back healthy.
It might be maybe something mental. You know what I mean? Like Paul George. Took Paul George a little while, but his was a little bit more extreme case. But I think you open up the phone lines, see who's offering what for anybody. I think you field all the offers. The thing that causes concern with me is that Kyrie is 26, I think. 25, 26. Kyrie has never played a full season in the NBA. Something always happens. Now, while the doctors did say that this knee injury was just a leftover problem from the patellar fracture he had 2 years ago, I think it was, or last year? 2 years ago. The screws caused an infection, and the infection was causing his knee. Obviously, it's an infection. It was sore, and they had to remove all the screws and clean his knee out, basically. That's pretty reasonable. It's not like, he tore his meniscus or something like that, something that has degenerative problems. But I wonder what the structure of his knee is like now. Kyrie's a guy that's game is built on twisting and turning and contorting his body and having an explosive first step and change of direction. And at 25, 26, a guy with chronic injury problems. It's always something. So I wonder how much of that is in the back of Danny Ainge's mind. He's going to want max money. He's going to want a nice deal, which is Kyrie Irving.
Mm-hmm.
And Kyrie Irving, for a little while this season, was playing at an MVP type level. But you can't pay a guy, a point guard, with a history of not being able to play a full season. You can't really pay that kind of money. And so I think that makes Danny Ainge's job a lot more difficult. So the other thing is, so you looked at maybe you could get a deal for Kyrie. That might backfire. Might not, though. Do you move Terry Rozier, who's a few years younger? Maybe. Maybe you trade Terry Rozier somewhere. But realistically, who needs point guard? Who needs a point guard? There's not a lot of teams that.
Indiana can stand to have a better point guard. Darren Collison, really? That's a championship level point guard. You can always upgrade at your point guard position. There's not many teams that have and I'm not saying that Terry Rozier is great at the very moment yet. We still got to see more, but I think there's Terry Rozier could start for 25 teams in the NBA, 22, 23, 4-ish teams in the NBA. He can start for a lot of teams. I get what you're saying about Kyrie.
He's still on a cheap deal, so I think they're going to end up keeping him. I don't think he's up for an extension for another year or so. If my contract math is correct.
Here's the thing.
But it's tough. You might be able to package Kyrie. This is the thing.
So you're gung-ho about trading Kyrie. You're just trade Kyrie.
No. I don't. I think you have to take the best offer that gets presented, whether that's Kyrie, whether it's a package for Rozier. I don't think you touch Jaylen Brown or Jason Tatum. Maybe you get rid of Marcus Smart. It's tough to say because he does so many things that don't show up on the stat sheet.
He's
an elite glue guy, one of the best defenders in the league.
Let's put on my GM fitted for a second, or my GM snapback for a second, and I think you sell high on Terry Rozier. That's just me. I think you sell high on Terry Rozier. I could see. Here's two things. I could see them keeping all of these guys because I think a lot of this depends on if Kyrie comes back healthy, and if Gordon.
Which they say that he'll be ready for camp.
Right. But you always have that doubt, little doubt, and then you always yeah, exactly. And even with Gordon Hayward, just a little doubt. It was an ugly injury, so we got to see. But let's just assume that Kyrie and Gordon Hayward comes back. They don't know that yet, so I think they'll come into next season's camp with all of these guys. I really do. And I think the guy I trade to me is Gordon Hayward. If he's healthy and productive, I trade Gordon Hayward to a team that needs a wing. I try to package him. Obviously, you can't do it now because no team's going to take Gordon Hayward coming off of gruesome injury like that. Just no team with any level of intelligence is going to do that. Not knowing, even if even if you review all the medicals and everything checks out, you got to see him play and come back from that injury first before you even chance it in dealing for him. And so but if I had to put my GM cap on for a second, I think I would trade Rozier. I think I would sell high on Rozier. I'd see what I can get back for him. I think you could probably get another draft pick back for him, or you could package him in a deal to get a big time player.
We could use a serviceable big.
The guy would have been, before this season and how everything played out, the guy would have been Anthony Davis. But I don't think New Orleans now is going to be in a position to trade him.
That's what I was going to say.
Yeah.
Before New Orleans made this push, you try and package Rozier or maybe even Kyrie, in a way with some of those picks that we've got for Anthony Davis. But Nobody thought that Drew Holiday would make a resurgence.
Yeah.
That's, certainly, it's just crazy that happened the way that it did. But, I mean,
that's why I think that you guys are going to hold.
With the Gordon Hayward thing, I don't think that they move on from him unless it's a superstar, because I think that it sets a bad precedence for GM or for free agents, people that are trying to woo free agents to come to Boston to play. Because we kind of saw how this happened with IT, where he just kind of, he got jettisoned. You don't want players to think, you can't sell them on, coming to a great environment and playing and doing this and doing the third or whatever, if they think that you're going to ship them out. That it's just some kind of revolving door of what can I get in this deal. And I get it. As from a GM perspective, you want the best deal that you can possibly get. But from a player standpoint and a recruiting player standpoint, I think that that's a bad look. But if you get rid of Kyrie, you traded for him, I think it's a trickier predicament than we thought. But regardless, I don't think that you touch Tatum or Brown. I think they're probably the only two guys on the team that are untouchable.
Tatum, I don't see them getting rid of Kyrie. I think they got Kyrie because they see him as the centerpiece, as the face of the franchise. I don't see them trading Kyrie, honestly. I think Kyrie with the Celtics is long term. I can see them trading Hayward only because I just don't think they ever expected Tatum to just have this leap from a very early age. I just don't. Even their best case scenario, I don't think they envision this from Tatum. So I think that's what makes it the Hayward pill a little bit easier to swallow.
The situation can last this way for a while because I think Brad Stevens can stagger minutes, because I don't want to see Shep Ojale out there playing significant minutes, because while he is a very good defender, he's terrible offensively.
Well, he can shoot.
He's awful.
He can shoot.
Awful. So, no, he can't shoot.
Ask the Sixers if he can shoot.
In theory, I've seen this dude put up brick after brick after brick after brick.
Yeah.
But those are minutes that Hayward and or Tatum can share at the three. You play small. Even though I don't like Al Horford playing the five much, you can tote out a decent lineup of like Irving, Brown, Tatum, Hayward, Horford.
And I'm not sure.
Mobility, lots of ball movement, lots of shooting.
And I'm not sure I love Hayward playing the four, especially coming back off an injury.
I think you put Tatum at the four.
Yeah. Look, I mean,
he plays some small ball four.
Yeah.
Now.
And at Duke, he played a lot of four too. So
yeah.
Look, I think it's
that if there's anybody that can figure out, I think it's Brad Stevens. And I think the only way that you really package Kyrie, or if you're getting rid of Terry Rozier high, I think you have to do it for like an Anthony Davis type of player.
Yeah, that's what I was saying. I think you package him in a trade to get an impact guy back. I don't think you package him in a trade to get just a pick.
Can't stay healthy. I think this is his first year, like really being healthy the full season. So that's a whole other caveat in itself.
I do see that. I don't think they're going to make any decisions one way or another right now. I think they'll come into next season. I think they'll see what they have. I think the big question marks are if Kyrie and Hayward are healthy. And if those guys are healthy and are playing well, I could see maybe at the trade deadline next year, if they need a piece, I think they can package maybe a Terry Rozier and someone else. But I mean, it's going to be interesting because I mean, the Celtics just have guys, man. Like they just got fucking guys. Guys after guys.
On drafting the right guys. I mean, he's drafted a few duds, but damn, when he hits, he hits.
Yeah, when he hits, he hits. I mean, he's drafted some duds now. But I mean, every you can say that about every GM, man. I mean, every GM has had those duds in there. I mean, it's an inexact science. It's an imperfect process. So you're going to have fucking duds. It's just the important thing is you hit on more guys than you fucking flame out on. So
yeah.
Real quick before you go to fouls of the week, I got to talk about Matt Harvey, because obviously, an end of an era for Matt Harvey, and some guys have been wanting me to talk about what my thoughts on it were. I mean, it's bittersweet, man. I mean, if those of you who don't know, obviously you guys know, he was DFA'd by the Mets. He refused a minor league assignment. And then in turn, they basically, released him. They designate him for assignment. They have 10 days to trade him. If they don't trade him, then, he becomes a free agent. So essentially, that is the deal with that. I mean, it's a bittersweet day if you're a Met fan. I mean, or it was a bittersweet day or two if you're a Met fan. I mean, if you would have told me in July of 2012 when he came up and in his first start he had 5 innings, 12 strikeouts, and it was just electrifying. If you would have told me that I'd have been sitting here almost 6 years to the day, almost. A couple months off, obviously, but 6 years to that. I mean, I would have said you're bullshitting. I would have said you're lying. I would have said no way, no fucking way. Like it has been one of the biggest falls from grace that I've seen, maybe in sports in a long, long time. I mean, this guy had New York on lock. He had the city, and look, we always had to deal with some of the dumb shit that he did. Obviously, going to Derek Jeter's final game while he's a Met. Rehabbing. I mean, that was a bad look. Obviously, why would you ever fucking do that? That's like a Jet going to Tom Brady's final game because, I just want to be there to see his final. No, stay your fucking ass at home and watch it on TV. But yeah, I mean, he had a lot of dumb shit, a lot of the baggage and the stupid shit that comes off the field with him. But I mean, the guy had the city on lock. I mean, every day he pitched was Harvey Day. Dark Knight, all the covers of SI, everything. I mean, the dude was a superstar. And the moment that just encapsulated his fall from grace was the 8 dominant shutout innings he threw in the World Series. And then begging Terry Collins to come back out there. And to this day, I don't want to be a phony because I was with Terry Collins on the decision. You let Matt Harvey come out there and finish off the game. It didn't work out. We lost the game. We lost the series. And then ever since that moment, it's been a disaster. So I don't know what else. I don't know if anything else was expected. It didn't come as a surprise because you knew that this was going to be, I mean, you can't keep a guy on your team that was just, it got to the point where he was non-competitive. It got to the point where the guy was just, it's one thing to be bad, but to be non-competitive, where you're just out there and you just can't put this guy out there because he's just not a competitive major league pitcher anymore. At some point, you just have to say, we just can't keep throwing this guy out there. So,
do you think that he just lost his stuff?
Well, he had two major injuries, obviously the Tommy John, and he came back from that relatively okay. He did pitch more innings than any other pitcher ever that has come back from Tommy John's surgery. And that was because we were in the postseason.
I feel like he lost some of his.
He did. He lost his velocity. He lost his velocity. He lost his movement. On his pitches because of the second surgery he had, which was the thoracic outlet syndrome. And a lot of guys have not come back from that injury at all. And the guys that have come back, they've come back as vastly different pitchers. So Harvey was at a disadvantage already. So yeah, he lost a lot of what made him great. He doesn't have that filthy fastball that he had before that was just 97, 98 with late movement action that was just devastating. And the biggest thing for him was that he lost a slider. His slider was just a fucking just nasty wipeout slider that had movement on both sides of the plate. And he lost that. And once he lost, I just think for him, he hasn't realized that he's not the same Matt Harvey that's just going to strike out 13 guys and dominate with velocity and just filthiness. And I think he has to change the way he pitches. And he's refused to.
He has to turn from a Roger Clemens type of pitcher to a Greg Maddux type of pitcher.
Yeah, and I think he can still do it. And I know guys have asked me this on Twitter or whatever, friends of mine that are Met fans. Do you think he's done? Do you think he never? I think the only way he's done is if he just decides that I'm just not going to change and I'm going to try to make this work my way. And if it doesn't work, then I think he's done. I think if he the problem with Matt is that he never humbled himself. Like when he was getting his ass creamed day after day, well, I still see like the dude would give up 6. The thing that even did it for me was last week when he came up in mop up duty, gave up fucking 5 runs in 2 innings. Oh, well, I still see some positives. Really, Matt? You see some positives? What are the positives? Cause I'm not, but he never humbled himself. He never sat there and said, yo, I'm pitching like shit. I need to go down. And that's what the Mets were doing. The Mets were willing to keep him. The Mets were willing to continue to make this work. They just wanted him to go down to the minors. They even used the example of Chris Carpenter and, Roy Halladay, guys that struggled early on in their careers or had moments in their careers where for whatever reason, injury, ineffectiveness, whatever, they lost their way and they went down to the minors. They found themselves and they came back and put together borderline Hall of Fame seasons, at least in the case of Roy Halladay, Hall of Fame seasons. Cliff Lee was a very good pitcher for a long time. Chris Carpenter, we know he was a good pitcher for a long time. So they were able to save their careers by, in what? Humbling themselves. And Matt Harvey doesn't want to do that. And a lot of that was Scott Boras. But the dude has to check himself. He has to check himself. So it's going to be interesting to see what's the next chapter, but it is bitter. It is bittersweet. I mean, it's happy because we don't have to see him just be horrible. Cause like as a Met fan, as a huge Matt Harvey fan, it just became tough to watch, man. It's just like, it became tough to watch him go out there and just be fucking horrible. Day after day, start after start, relief appearance after relief appearance. It just became hard to watch. At some point, it's like, this can't continue. It's just like, you can't continue this. So it was bound to happen. So, but yeah, it's sad. I think he will get another opportunity because there's still talent there. I mean, even with the loss in movement and his slider, like he still has the velocity. He's still throwing 94, 95. If he can develop his changeup, better, even though his changeup was never a bad pitch for him, but if he can kind of rely more on kind of movement, not so much velocity, but more movement and pitching to both sides of the plate and more of a finesse style pitcher, then I think he could still have a very good career in the major leagues. It's obviously not going to be with the Mets, unfortunately. So that's my little soliloquy on Matt Harvey. I had to let that out. It was hurting, but the nigga was bad. I mean, it was fucking tough. It's got bad, man. It was fucking horrible. And it just happened. It happens, man. It happens. I mean, we've seen it. The Cubs went through this, a decade ago when they had Pryor and Wood. Mark Pryor. I could have sworn Mark Pryor was going to be a Hall of Famer when I first saw him pitch. Mark Pryor was just,
cold.
And then he got hurt and that just never.
It was his elbow, Kerry Wood's shoulder.
Pryor had just shoulder problems. I remember Pryor had a lot like really bad shoulder problems, and sometimes it just happens, man.
The problem is that, bro, I don't know who their pitching coach was at that time. You would think, and I wonder how different it would be today. Was the advancements that we have, like in technology and like film and like high speed cameras and things like that, to sit a guy down with a specific pitching coach, a mechanics coach, and say, hey, this motion that you're doing, this is ruining your elbow. Because Kerry Wood was a violent pitcher. Like, he had like a really violent motion, that arm snap. Like, he had a really high Roger Clemens type of kick, that leg lift, and then like just the way that he whipped that ball, like it was so violent. I think it is probably one of the most violent motions that I can remember. Except for maybe like a John Smoltz type of pitcher when John Smoltz threw that splitter. But Kerry Wood had nasty stuff. And now I just wonder how different it would be that you can put a guy on the mound in your practice facility. You can have 10, 15, 20 cameras, 360 that slow it down to 1,000th, 1,000,000th of a second, and you can pinpoint what the strain in someone's arm or their elbow, or their shoulder or their wrist or whatever. I just wonder how different it would be for guys like Kerry Wood and for Mark Pryor and even Dontrell Willis.
Well, the thing with Kerry Wood, and Mark Pryor, specifically Kerry Wood, was how much they were used early on. They ran them to the ground, man. I mean, that's what they did. Kerry Wood and Mark. I mean, those are two guys of cautionary tales for young pitchers. But I mean, the Harvey thing is sad, man. I mean, if you're a Met fan, I mean, he was the first guy after some lean years. He was the first prospect to come up and give us hope. And, you know, I mean, it's sad. It's sad. But I mean, I think it's almost a good thing, because I think it was a needed departure. It was a needed divorce. It wasn't going to work. It just had to happen, and it just happened. And you know, I wish him the best. I hope he can find himself and still make a career out of his career, because I still think he could be a very good, maybe not the level of dominance that he had once before, but he could still be a very good pitcher. I believe that I still think he can be a good pitcher. He's just not right now. And I think he needs to humble himself. I think he needs to go down to the minors. I can see, as far as teams that I can see maybe taking a shot at him, I can see a team that has a pitching guru for a pitching coach. I could see Pittsburgh would be the perfect spot for me if I were him. I would go to Pittsburgh with Ray Searage. Ray Searage has worked wonders with a lot of pitchers. I could just go there, go down to the minors, humble yourself, listen to what they have to say, and just fix everything. Fix what you need to do. Start from scratch and just figure out what kind of pitcher.
All over again.
Exactly. And if he does that, I think he can make himself a good starting pitcher in the major leagues again. But right now, he's not a major league pitcher right now.
Yeah. I mean, he's only what, 30?
He's 29.
29?
Yeah.
I guess, no dog can. I mean,
even look at Rich Hill. Rich Hill was a guy that was out of baseball for a few years. He had some injury issues, and he was out of baseball, and he battled all the way back. You know, Rich Hill was in independent ball a couple years ago, and guess what?
Yeah.
Now he's.
Baseball is certainly the sport where you can do that, where you can go, and the opportunity to do so. Like, okay, we are going to send you down to a lower level so you can figure shit out, get your mind right, get your stuff right. Then we will call you right back up. That doesn't happen in other sports.
No, it does not. No. No, it doesn't. So, I mean, but we'll see. We'll see. Yeah. We shall see.
Brothers and sisters! No sugar. Brothers and sisters! I don't know what this world is coming to.
Yeah. Bum. Yeah. It's crazy. Watching Dear White People. Straight up. Fouls of the week. And my foul of the week for this week goes to the Atlanta Falcons and their ridiculous extension of Matt Ryan. I mean, and I don't even blame Matt Ryan per se, because I mean, hey, me, you, all of y'all, whoever we know, everybody, all people, everybody, we all work for a living. We all want to make money. We all want to make the almighty dollar. That's what we do. And we would all leave our situations if it provided a better opportunity financially and a better opportunity for growth. So I don't begrudge anybody for ever taking the money. So I don't blame Matt Ryan. Obviously, he's getting paid. And I'm not even a Matt Ryan hater. I think Matt Ryan's a very good quarterback. I think you can win with Matt Ryan. I think he can win a Super Bowl with Matt Ryan. Like, I'm not a Matt Ryan hater. I've actually been a Matt Ryan fan, and I've actually found myself throughout his career defending Matt Ryan in a lot of situations. I've also been critical. I've also knocked him, but for the most part, I'm a Matt Ryan fan. I think he's a very good quarterback. Do I think he's a transcendent quarterback? No, I don't. But do I think he's a very good quarterback? I do. But these teams, man, they have to realize that paying these guys and these quarterbacks have to realize that you can't make $15, $25, $30 million, or as you can't make $30 million, $40 million, get 15 to 25% of your cap and still expect to put a winning product on the field. It's not going to work. It's been proven. It has been proven. You want to know why the Patriots have been successful for almost 20 years consecutively? Why they have been successful? And I know you could say, well, they have Bill Belichick, they have Tom Brady, but it's because Tom Brady has taken less money. And I know cynical people out there will say, well, he's got a supermodel wife who's worth $1 billion. Of course, it's easy for him to take less money. True, that may be so, but I think Tom Brady's a smart guy as well. I think Tom Brady realizes, hey, I don't need to make $30 million. Pay me $18 million, and that's $12 million that we have to play with to add to our offensive line, to add to our defensive line, to add to our DBs, to add to our to our wide receiver core or running back core or whatever. In theory. He's a smart dude. He understood that a long time ago. And the Patriots organization, for as much as I fucking hate them and as well as you guys do, they're smart about that. Because they realize that paying their quarterback an exorbitant amount of money, it's not conducive to winning long term. You can't do it. And the thing that really kills me is that these quarterbacks are the biggest phonies and hypocrites of them all. Because they get the $30 million, but then also complain that they can't keep said wide receiver, that they can't keep said offensive lineman, that they can't keep a pass rusher, or that they can't keep, their favorite DB. And you can't have it both ways. Remember a couple years ago when Drew Brees, was all bent out of shape because Jimmy Graham left and the Saints couldn't re-sign him and he got a shitload of money from the Seahawks? Drew Brees, of all people, who took every last dollar from the Saints when his extension was up, as he should have. Because I don't begrudge anybody for making money. But Drew Brees, of all people, complained and bitched and moaned, I wanted to keep Jimmy Graham, blah, blah, blah. But he don't tell you that when they went to him, it was reported, now we don't know if it's true, but allegedly, when they went to him to take a pay cut to rework his contract, he said no. So wait a second. You want to make your $30 million, but you also want the team to pay Jimmy Graham $15 million. And oh, by the way, keep other wide receivers, keep offensive linemen, keep defensive backs, keep defensive linemen, and make you happy as well. It doesn't work that way, Drew. It doesn't work that way. But I mean, the Falcons are going to soon learn because they're going to pay Matt Ryan this ridiculous amount of money, fully guaranteed. And eventually Julio Jones is going to want another contract extension. Eventually, they're going to have to pay Tevin Coleman. I mean, Tevin Coleman's not that important because they'll probably just let him go since they already have Freeman signed. But eventually, they're going to have to pay Vic Beasley. They're going to have to pay Jarrett down the line. They're going to have guys to pay. And guess what? You're going to be in a situation where you're going to be capped out because you're paying a guy 20% of your cap. It doesn't work. It does not work. So my foul of the week, the Atlanta Falcons, and their obvious mismanagement of their fucking salary cap. And I know that they had to do it because the market is such. I get it. But that's still a major foul for me. Anyway, I'm going to get up out of here, man. It's been a blast being back on the show. Obviously, you guys, if you are listening to the show or whenever you listen to the show, you'll know that I recorded this on a Sunday. So yeah, that is the new days that we're recording, me and Jet, every week going forward. On a Sunday, every day or every Sunday going forward, man. It's just easier with, life's getting in the way of recording during the week, man. Preferably I would like to record on Wednesdays and Thursdays, but, honestly, the kids are starting daycare now. Jet's got a lot going on in his life, and it just makes it, from a time constraints issue, an issue to try to record. So Sundays are better. And actually is a little bit easier too, because, you kind of have a whole full week to kind of digest the news and get that going. So Sunday's a better time. So we're going to record on Sundays now going forward, unless it's like a major holiday. So like next week, we'll probably record on Saturday night and then drop the show on Sunday. So that way it doesn't interfere with the Mother's Day holiday or whatever. Cause I know a lot of people are going to be doing stuff for Mother's Day and whatnot. I know I will. So yeah, man, it's just a better time to record. So, Sundays are the new recording days. So be on the lookout for that. So you'll be getting shows, no later than Monday mornings, most times. So yeah. And the other bit of news that we have, is that we're going through a name change. We are changing the name of the show. As you guys know that have been with us from day one, there are some other folks that have the same name as we do. Not throwing shade or anything at anybody else, because we were probably late to the party on the name thing. So we just figured we're getting bigger, we're growing, we're getting more popular. We figured it was time for a change, it was time for a rebranding, to kind of christen that, to kind of go in a new direction, to mark a new era in the show. So rebranding, different name. It's a lot of work. It's going to be a lot of work, but it's worth it. It's time. yeah, man. So we're taking suggestions and ideas on that. So if you guys want to give us ideas on that, you can always hit me up on social media. You can email the show, the TF podcast at gmail.com. And you can hit me up as well on Twitter. You guys know my Twitter at Manuel Brown, the show Twitter page at the TF Podcast 1. Also on Instagram, the TF Podcast. Follow Jut at Jutjitsu on Twitter. Hit me up on Snapchat if you want to as well, MannyBro15. So we're taking those ideas, we're taking those suggestions, and those would be very, very, very much appreciated because we're kind of stuck on finding a name that works. But I'm sure we'll figure it out. But in the meantime, we're still the Technical Foul Podcast. So yeah, as always, we're available in every podcast directory where there's podcasts. We are there. iTunes, SoundCloud, Stitcher, Google Play, TuneIn Radio, anywhere where you can find podcasts for free, we are there. So listen, subscribe, continue to support the show, man. We truly appreciate it. And thank you for those new reviews that I've been getting on iTunes. As I say this all the time, that is important. That is the lifeblood of any podcast, man, is those iTunes reviews. Those helps us get noticed. Those helps us be found in all podcast directories and be more searchable. So yeah, man, the more reviews, the better. So if you like the show and you like what you're listening to, drop a quick paragraph of what you like about the show, man, and give us a rating. So it's very much appreciated. So for real. But for my co-host Jut, I am Manny Fresh. We're going to get up out of here for this week. Have a healthy, safe, blessed week. We'll catch y'all next week. Stay healthy, stay positive, all that good stuff, man. We're out of here. Peace.
Serious sound.